Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video I'm going to be doing my best to kind of explain how to easily deal with Sinister labs with as little rerolls as possible without using any items and kind of like medium champions. So we're not going to be using any of our rank 5s or rank 4s or 6 stars. We're just going to be using 4 stars and rank 3 5-star champions. And first we need to select our team. Now first of all, we need to recognize who are typically the problem kind of nodes, problem issues in Sinister labs. And those are taunts, slash tires, caltrops. That's all really annoying stuff. Then we have the incinerate, bleed, poison nodes and champions like Abomination and Morning Stars that require those immunities. Biohazard, freezer burn that require immunities. So that is kind of another thing that we need to keep in mind. So we need some immune champions or champions who are able to deal with it. And then there are like power gain nodes, which can be super annoying. So we need some power control. And then there could be some bad regeneration nodes. Ideally, we want some way to deal with regeneration. And then we just kind of want some added extra bit of utility. And then we're going to slowly pick our team here. So first of all, I want to start with Archangel. Archangel is always quite a solid pick for these kind of ones, just because if he works great. If opponent doesn't have any immunities, he can bypass the nodes themselves. Therefore, Archangel is always extremely valuable option. And then when it goes for dealing with as many different kind of biohazards and whatnot, we can use Iceman, because Iceman does have 3 immunities. He can also tank level 3s if we can't deal with power gain, so he has a fair bit of versatility for these kind of random events that might possibly happen. And then we're gonna want some sort of form of power control, and we can do Dormammu, which would also be kind of great, doubling up on immunities. But I'm not quite happy with Dormammu's damage output as a rank 3 5-star, so I will go with my 4-star magic. So 4-star magic always could be useful there. Then we also want some ability to deal with heals and some bigger power gains like Hyperions, which could be annoying. So in order to do that, we're gonna find my 4-star Void. And Void is often a solid pick in these as well. Even with Suicides, we can't use Void for many fights, but then again, quest isn't all that long. So that is worth a note. I am running Suicides, which is kind of not ideal for this, but still, I didn't want to change my masteries. So there we go. And then we can either pick like some added bit of utility. You can go with maybe Gladiator Hulk for Starburst if we happen to have one. Also something to deal with taunts, which would be like Omega Red or Namor. Unfortunately, I don't really have those guys ranked. Also, I do want to leave Quake and Ghost out of this, just to show that this doesn't really have that big of a skill gap, and those champions are fairly skill kind of reliant champions. So if you can't use those two, I don't want anybody to feel kind of like disadvantaged and that they are excluded from this video. So we're going to be ignoring Quake and Ghost, and those typically are the champions that I do in fact use a lot. And now we can either take in Hyperion. Who else? Because Hyperion deals with taunts and stuff like Electro relatively well. Who else we have? Could use Gladiator Hulk or Cap, I suppose. Ronan is a decent option often for these nodes to cheese a lot of stuff. But I think we're gonna go in as we are with Hype, Archangel, Iceman, Magic, Void. So there's none of the kind of like new exclusive 2019 champions as well. All of these are fairly kind of commonly available for majority of the players. Now we do need to pick a side where we're gonna go. On the left side, we only have Howard the Duck that can potentially occasionally be annoying, but he only has like Arc, Overlord, and Power Reserve. That's not too bad. We have Electro here. Backlash Pulse, which is one of the problem nodes, an aspect of Chaos. So don't really want to kind of play a gamble game there. So here we have Guillotine with Bane, Pilfer. On the right side, I think we can be pretty much clear. Bleed, Vulnerability, Masochism, that's fine. Spiked Armors, not too bad. And that is important to kind of like scout the lanes before you get into the fights. And last fight there is Biohazard, shouldn't be too bad. So we're going to the right side this time. And now we're going to deal with the first fight, which is Guillotine. And so we have Bane, Pilfer Regeneration, and Buff Duration. So to deal with Bane, typically one of the better options is a power control champion, which we're going to use magic in this case. And that is just going to basically let us have good chance of a perfect Bane transfer, because if we don't know how to bait out their special attacks, we can focus on doing the actual Bane transfer, which we did there on purpose. We kind of delayed attacking after parrying to make sure that we are attacking within Bane reach. So now we're going to drop a level 1. She can use her level 1, and we're going to again have a perfect Bane transfer, nothing to worry about. So once again, a nasty node like Bane fairly much neutralized just by being prepared and taking an appropriate counter. So again, Bane is about to expire. It did. We had a Limbo active that helped us with some damage mitigation. So we transferred Bane. We're going to drop our level 2 again to make sure we're in good position. Again, to transfer Bane when we want to get in order not to take that damage. So she's at 23%. And we should be able to transfer Bane perfectly here again. Yes, we are. And that is just because that magic is really good champion for Bane nodes, or any power control champion in fact. So there we go. We lost some health due to suicides, but not due to Bane. So now we have to move on to the next fight. So next fight we have Bleed Vulnerability and Masochism. So Masochism heal can be annoying, but we also can take advantage of that Bleed Vulnerability. We have Archangel who could do that, and we have Void. Void has class disadvantage, but he could have a good time against Masochism. However, I think I'm going to save him and I'm going to go in with Archangel, just because we have class advantage. Archangel can shut off Masochism completely, and he doesn't really care about that armor either. So first we parried on kind of purpose to trigger the Masochism. Now we let her hit our block a couple of times to get some poisons on us. Now we have 3 neurotoxins. We don't worry about Masochism, and she is absolutely melting away. Uh-oh, I got clipped there, so that was a definite user error. That is unfortunately going to cost us quite a bit, because with suicides, Archangel now is going to be pretty much down for the count, so that is my mistake. However, we still have fairly decent chance, I suppose, to clear this. Now we have Spiked Armor, Sadist, and Stuff. So Spiked Armor, Archangel would be perfect for this. However, we're going to have to get in there with Hyperion. Hyperion has class advantage, and once he doesn't have the biggest crit rate, that is also going to work for us. And we have some heal, and we should be able to deal with that armor and do some explosive damage. So hopefully we can just kind of ignore that spiked armor damage. So now we're going to outweigh those spiked armor nodes and drop another level 2, hopefully doing some good amount of damage. So another way kind of how to deal with spiked armor is just wait it out. So we have lost quite a bit of damage here, but he is lower than we are, and we are in fairly decent position. So now we're at 26%, he's at 21%. Now I do want to drop my level 3 and heal up a bit. So that is what we're going to try and do, because level 3 can't crit, that would be perfect. He's fairly close to the health, so if we have to, we can finish the fight fairly good. And we messed up again. So, well, mess ups happen, it can be helped sometimes, straight after the level 3, which is kind of annoying a bit. But to finish it off, I'm just going to take in Magic, because Magic should be able to close this out fairly quickly if we don't mess up too much. And then we can see how we deal with the next fights. So once again, if he has spiked armor on, we want to wait it out. Don't want to take much damage, so we're just waiting out the spiked armor buffs. This should hopefully finish it off. No, it didn't. I messed up. Okay, so Magic's at 25%, but we can keep on going. And that's kind of the point of the video. You don't have to play perfect. You don't need to have like all the options or all highly ranked champions. So we have Bane and Backblast. So Backblast does incinerate damage. Bane does damage to us, and then we have recovery. That doesn't really matter. We're gonna need to check out what is the next node. Next node has biohazard on it and fisticuffs. So for biohazard we're gonna need Iceman. So since we're definitely gonna need Iceman, we're gonna be going in with Void in this one. Because we obviously fully expect to lose some health, but we want to save up Iceman for later. So now we're going to be trying our best to deal with Bane without a power control champion. And once again, like, it's important to get solid Bane transfers. So we often, like, a good tool is to wait out your parries and only attack kind of when you know that you're going to be able to transfer the Bane on time. So now again we got in another good transfer. That's perfectly fine. So there we go again. We're waiting it out, we're getting in a perfect transfer. I'm not throwing special attacks just because I kind of want to preserve my health in case I need Void again for something. Once again, we're getting in those good Bane transfers, which is kind of important because that gives us extra damage and most importantly preserves our own health. So once again, we're waiting it out a bit just to be able to transfer Bane exactly when we have to. Now we have to bait out a level 2 of her or we're going to be in a bit of trouble. Which is perfectly fine. One hit, parry, perfect. Again, we timed out Bane just in time as we needed it. So we haven't really taken much, if any, Bane damage in this fight, which is perfect. Bet out at level 1, and again, last transfer, and this should pretty much close out the fight. So it didn't do too bad at all without a power control champion, as well, just knowing how to play around the Bane. And there was nothing kind of overly difficult or tricky. We just needed to watch her power, watch our power, and watch the Bane timer. So now we have biohazard. And okay, so we have biohazard, fisticuffs, and unblockable finale. So it shouldn't be too bad overall. We have an immune champion because we were prepared. It could have been like freezer burn, it could have been biohazard, Iceman could take those fights. That's perfect. So since we don't have too many fights left, we can be a bit frivolous with our health, take some blocked hits if we have to. Ideally not, but still. Sometimes you just have to. And that fisticuffs is long. Cheeky dashback intercept, that's again optional. Now we have gotten rid of the fisticuffs, so we have our ice armor back, which is perfect. We can pressure her in the corner. Make sure she drops her level 2. Ideally, I kind of feel better pushing her to level 2 as well, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to use our level 3 to push her to past 2 bars of power. So last phase obviously is going to be a bit tricky with biohazard and unblockable finale, so we're going to have to be careful there, and we have to be careful when she's approaching it, because that is how unblockable finale often gets you, when you don't notice when opponent slips under 25% health. So you need to be careful watching her health bar when we're approaching 25%. So we're at 28, still safe. Probably the last combo I can do. So we're gonna do a level 2 here because we want to close out the fight at this point as early as possible, so we don't mind taking some recall damage. So 97 hits in, we didn't really get hit by her. Yes, we didn't lose combo, we just took a bunch of block damage. And now we have 4 champions at varied health levels, and we have last final boss to deal with. And that is 35k rogue with arc overload and power gain and poison vulnerability. So since she has arc overload and power gain, and I believe it says both champions gain 200% power gain. So this either will work out really well or really poorly, but it kind of depends how she's going to throw her special attacks. But Void is going to be able to deal with that arc overload, which is perfect for us. So we're gonna need to be careful how many specials we spam, obviously, because she gains a lot of power as well, and so do we. Oh, I made a mistake there. I didn't want to throw a level 2. So 200% power gains are always kind of iffy fights, but so long as she is cooperating, throwing special attacks, we should be able to close it out, because it's just rogue. Even though it's a massive power gain, it's still just rogue. Her specials aren't too tricky to evade. We can push her back a bit by hitting her block, which isn't the end of the world. Got out that special too. Arc Overload hits in. At this point, she's already losing health from it, which is perfect. Another level 1, nearly there, just don't get cornered and we're gonna be good. She got another healing and that's it, fight's over, 48 hits. So we got through random labyrinth path, which might not have been the hardest. I'm perfectly happy to assume there are harder ones. However, you do have randomizers available. You also have extra entries. If something is too difficult, you can always back out. But vast majority of the times, you should be able to complete these labs without items, without randomizers, if you take kind of well-versed team. And that is the important bit, not how strong they are, not how hard they can hit, it's how many different annoying nodes they can handle. And that is whenever you go in these kind of quests where you know for a fact quite often you're going to be facing a lot of taunts, a lot of, let's say, biohazard. It is silly from you to go in without immune champions and then complain that you can't deal with biohazard or freezer burn. If you know there's quite a lot of caltrops or backblast balls or taunts or slash tires, it is silly for you to go in without champions that counter those abilities like power control and stuff like that. So it's not about taking in the champions that you have ranked the highest, it's about champions that can answer the known problems of Sinister Labs. I hope this video helped you guys. I hope this video kind of perhaps is going to help you finish all these Sinister Labs a bit more smooth when the time comes. And yeah, that's gonna be me done for today. If you enjoyed today's video, do remember to hit that like button, hit that sub button, and share it with your friends. Perhaps they can find it useful. But that is going to be me done for today, and see you guys.